She called 911. Over Wi-Fi. That's not the kind of story you expect to be part of your adult life. Not something they prepare you for in school, or in college, or in mortgage paperwork. But there I was, standing on my front porch in the middle of a perfectly normal morning, watching a 16-year-old girl confidently claim that I was committing a crime. Because I wouldn't give her my Wi-Fi password. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up, just a little. I moved into Cedar Ridge because it looked quiet. Shady trees. Clean driveways. People who wave when they walk their dogs. The kind of neighborhood where you think nothing dramatic ever happens. Except, I didn't know that every peaceful neighborhood has its ruler. And ours was named Linda. Linda wasn't just the HOA president. She was the self-declared queen of Cedar Ridge. Blonde, perfectly blow-dried hair, sunglasses even on cloudy days, step count always high because she patrolled the neighborhood like a guard dog with a clipboard. She had opinions about everything. Your lawn height. Too long. Your holiday decorations. Too tacky. Your mailbox color. Not community cohesive. She spoke in phrases like, per community guidelines. And, as outlined in the handbook. Like they were scripture. And where there is a queen, there is always an heir. Enter Maddie. 16. TikTok famous, at least according to her. The kind of girl who says, I'm an influencer, with the seriousness of someone declaring a military title. She had that look. The look of someone who has never been told no. Until, apparently, recently. See, Maddie got grounded. Caught sneaking out to a party. Phone privileges restricted. Mobile data turned off. And to a teenager whose entire identity lives inside a phone screen. That was equivalent to a medieval exile. So naturally, she decided the world must rearrange itself to fix her problem. And that's how she ended up on my doorstep. Let me back up, just a little. The first time she came over, I had just settled in to watch a documentary and eat leftovers. My evening was peaceful. My blood pressure normal. My sanity fully intact. Ding dong. I opened the door, expecting maybe a delivery driver. Instead, there she was. Phone in hand. Expression confident. Like she was about to demand tribute. I need your Wi-Fi password, she said. Not asked. Said. Just like that. No, hello. No, sorry to bother you. No, how are you today, human neighbor who is not obligated to support my social media career. Just. Give me your Wi-Fi. Her screen was open to TikTok, video stuck uploading at 12%. She exhaled dramatically, like she was announcing a medical emergency. My mom turned off my data. I have followers waiting. Your network reaches my room. So just give me the password. I blinked. Because my brain needed a moment to reboot from the sheer audacity. I kept my tone polite. Calm. Adult. No, Maddie. I'm not giving you my Wi-Fi password. Her face twisted into a scowl I recognized immediately. Because I'd seen it dozens of times. On her mother. You're seriously refusing? It doesn't cost you anything, she snapped. It's a private network. I pay for it. I explained. Patient. Rational. The way you speak to someone you think is capable of understanding. But Maddie looked at me the way a customer looks at a cashier who tells them coupons expired in 2019. Offended. Like the universe had betrayed her personally. Wow, she said, pointing at me like she was accusing me of war crimes. I'm calling my mom. And she stormed off. Now, if this were a normal neighborhood, that would be the end. A teenager complains, a parent shrugs, life continues. But this was not a normal neighborhood. This was Cedar Ridge. And Linda was not a normal parent, she was a general with a laminated rules binder. By noon the next day, I received my first HOA violation letter. It read: Failure to demonstrate community spirit. You have refused to provide reasonable assistance to a neighbor in need. I actually laughed. Out loud. I thought it was a joke. Then, 2 hours later. A second notice. Creating neighborhood discord. Your selfish actions are disrupting community harmony. Then, that evening. A third. Potential legal action pending. Because I didn't give a teenager my Wi-Fi password. Linda worked faster than the IRS when you owe money. The next morning, ding dong. Guess who? Maddie was back. Arms crossed. Jaw set. The confidence of someone who believes the world is one big drive-through window. I talked to my mom, she said. And she agrees you have to share your Wi-Fi. It's basically a community resource. I raised an eyebrow. Your mom doesn't decide what I do with my private internet. You're being selfish, she snapped. I am an influencer. People need my content. I stared at her. It is not my responsibility to ensure the world receives your lip sync videos. Her eyes narrowed. This is discrimination. Internet is a human right. I slowly inhaled through my nose. Like a yogi. Because sometimes peace is not the world around you. Sometimes peace is the tiny flame of sanity you protect inside yourself. No. I said simply. I explained. Patient. Rational. The way you speak to someone you think is capable of understanding. But Maddie looked at me the way a customer looks at a cashier who tells them coupons expired in 2019. Offended. Like the universe had betrayed her personally. Wow, she said, pointing at me like she was accusing me of war crimes. I'm calling my mom. And she stormed off. The next morning, ding dong. Guess who? Maddie was back. Arms crossed. Jaw set. The confidence of someone who believes the world is one big drive-through window. I talked to my mom, she said. And she agrees you have to share your Wi-Fi. It's basically a community resource. I raised an eyebrow. Your mom doesn't decide what I do with my private internet. You're being selfish, she snapped. I am an influencer. People need my content. I stared at her. It is not my responsibility to ensure the world receives your lip sync videos. Her eyes narrowed. This is discrimination. Internet is a human right. I slowly inhaled through my nose. Like a yogi. Because sometimes peace is not the world around you. Sometimes peace is the tiny flame of sanity you protect inside yourself. No. I said simply. No, Maddie. And that's when she did it. She pulled out her phone. Looked me dead in the eye. And dialed 911. I swear, time slowed. The dispatcher answered. 911, what's your emergency? Maddie straightened, like she thought this was her Oscar moment. My neighbor is refusing to give me his Wi-Fi password. He is withholding public utilities. A silence. A long, magnificent silence. Then the dispatcher said, as flat as asphalt. Ma'am. Wi-Fi is not a public utility. She blinked. Well, it should be. We'll be sending an officer to discuss appropriate use of emergency services. And that was the real emergency. 15 minutes later, a squad car rolled up. Officer Rodriguez stepped out, mid-40s, tired eyes, energy of a man who just wanted lunch. Maddie sprinted to him like she was greeting a celebrity. Officer. He's refusing to share his Wi-Fi with the community. Rodriguez looked at me. Then at Maddie. Then at the invisible camera that must be documenting his suffering. Sir, he asked me. Is that accurate? I explained the situation. Calm. Measured. Like a grown adult explaining gravity. He nodded slowly. Then Linda arrived. She came marching across the lawn in her HOA blazer like it was a military uniform. "I'm the HOA president," she announced, like she was unveiling a weapon. "Sir," she told the officer, "this resident is refusing to cooperate with community standards." Rodriguez asked, "Which legal standard requires sharing private Wi-Fi?" Linda opened her mouth. Paused. Then said, "It's about community spirit." Rodriguez blinked twice. Then said, "Ma'am. Wi-Fi is private property. You have no authority to compel him to share it." Neighbors were watching now. Filming. Whispering. And then he turned to Maddie. "Miss, I am issuing you a formal warning for misuse of emergency services. If you do this again, you will be charged." The look on her face. Shock. Confusion. Like she'd just discovered gravity applies to her too. Linda sputtered. "This is ridiculous. I will be filing a complaint." "You're free to do that, ma'am," Rodriguez said. "Just make sure it's based on reality." Then he got into his car and drove off. Leaving the HOA queen and her heir standing silent in their front yard. Defeated. That evening, the video hit the neighborhood group chat. By morning, everyone had seen it. And suddenly, Linda didn't look like a leader. She looked like a bully who had finally overplayed her hand. 3 days later, the HOA held an emergency meeting. Chairs scraped. Papers shuffled. Voices murmured. Linda walked in tall. But her eyes flickered. Because she could feel it. The power had shifted. The vote to remove her as HOA president. Unanimous. She didn't argue. She just sat there. Red-faced. Stiff. Small. And Maddie? Banned from the community center Wi-Fi for 30 days. Consequences. Real ones. As for me, I went home. Opened my laptop. And renamed my network. No free TikToks here. No exclamation point. No emojis. Just a message. Calm. Final. Unbothered. Because sometimes the greatest revenge is simply refusing to be controlled.